catch me or I go Houdini.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Today I'm bringing you a word, and it's about progressive transitioning. This is where Yahusha wants us to go. Scripture is a progressive story presenting Yahuwah's final plan for mankind. It's progressive, it's moving, it's going through and going along. Though all covenants presented in Scripture are for a reason. And those reasons were to teach us and to show us what's happening. And they have progressed and transitioned into each other. All the covenants have progressed and transitioned into each other, culminating into Yahusha's final covenant for mankind. This final covenant for mankind is important to see. The whole Scripture and its covenants transitioned into a set time. That set time is when Yahuah morphed into Yahusha, fulfilling all covenant prophecies and Scripture, and transgressed them into a new covenant of love for the people of the last days. This new covenant of love is where we're to move and to transgress to. Just as Yahuah morphed himself into a new creation of flesh, which he wants us to follow, he wants us to follow him into this new covenant. We are to follow him all that way, because all covenants have been transitioned into each other to bring forth the final covenant of love, with only 2 commandments, which again will transition our behaviour. And this is what gives us the change. Our behaviour has to change out of religious worldly teachings into righteous, fruitful behaviour. This behaviour is to be seen in us. This change in behaviour is our metamorphizing from the old to the new. We can't stay the same. We can't just be who we think we are and read Scriptures and stay in that place where we came into Yahusha when we got immersed. It's a progressive story. It's a progressive life. So this change is seen in our behaviour. All this happened in Yahusha's timing. His timing is very important. The timing of his arrival, he said, in the volume of the book is written of me. He arrived here and he explained all this to us through the Gospels, through his teachings, through the Word in the New Covenant. There's also a set time for his appearing. He also has given the bride a mindset to follow. That mindset that the bride is to follow, and her focus should be on him and her behaving of his word. Now, as we come into knowing Yahusha and getting to know him and seeing who he is and seeing what he's doing in our personal lives, this is where Yahusha progresses. It's a personal journey between yourself and Yahusha. And he wants us to keep moving, to progress. It's a progressive walk. That timing where Yahusha says you've got to clean out this, you've got to clean this out, you've got to clean out and move on to be morphed into a new creation. Our lifestyle has to change. Our whole mindset has to change. The progressive change is outstanding. It's overwhelming when we find how Yahusha wants us to be. we're not who we think we are. We don't want to be what we've been. We don't want to say what we've said. We don't want to act and behave like we have. This is what the bride is stuck in today. The bride is not doing this movement, is not progressing, is not moving into who Yahusha wants us to be. So there should be an obvious change in our behaviour, because Scripture's a progressive story, and He's done this for all mankind. He wants us to know how to be, and He's shown us this by His way, a new and living way He's given us in His progression. Yahuah transitioned into Yahusha. This is the crux of the transitioning. When we see Yahuah, the timing He came and arrived on earth, He transitioned and morphed into Yahusha. And Yahusha's life showed us how we can follow Him and become a new creation. In His new covenant, He says, all things are made new. That means all things. In ourselves, we have to find those parts that Yahusha is teaching and telling us and speaking to us personally. Yahuah transitioned into Yahusha. Therefore, all covenants also transitioned into each other. And the final covenant, Yahusha's final words, were in John's vision in Revelation, telling us where He wants us to finally be, to overcome and transition and become new creatures, become new. So the whole Scripture and its covenants have been fulfilled by Yahusha. He fulfilled everything in His word. He fulfilled all the old covenants, and all the old covenants transitioned into each other. And when Yahusha came, He brought this new covenant. So Yahusha's telling us today to be part of the move, to progress, to move on. Don't stay stagnant. Don't stay in a place where you find comfortable, because He wants us to get into a whole new mindset where He's bringing us out of the world, the doctrines, the religions, the mindset of the world, that heaviness that surrounds us in the teachings that we've come into, born into, lived into, thrown into, gone into. All this has to be cleaned out. And this is why Yahusha came, and He gave us a new covenant of love. That new covenant of love can be our deliverance. This is so exciting, brothers and sisters. I find this the most wonderful understanding, the progressive transitioning where Yahusha has taken us through all the teachings of old and shown us His new covenant of love. This is where we can go. This is what He's saying in His scriptures. All through time, and His timing in the last days is bringing all this out for us in the last days, so that we can find the true way, the real way, finding the truth, finding your part in His progressive plan. Let's keep up with Yahusha. Don't dig your feet in. Let's move on, because He's got so many wonderful things still in store for us, progressing us into the behaviour of His love. Thanks for listening. Catch you again later. Bye.
Catch me or I go Houdini.